week by week and see,
No.
what he can handle and go from there.
Week by week for sure. I mean, yeah, when I first came, that was more day by day at that point. But yeah, it's been week by week for sure.
What has Talon and this experience taught you, Coach?
What has it taught me? I think the one thing is even for someone who's been around football as much as me, it's a good example of how all these college teams have 100+ guys on them, and they all got here somehow. Somebody thought they were good enough, but sometimes you get a depth chart going, and then reps are staggered based on where you're at on the depth chart. And sometimes maybe a guy doesn't really have a chance to show how good he is just because of the way the cards are dealt. And I mean, as I've said many weeks, Talon has far exceeded my expectations, even if, when I was watching him before. But sometimes you just got to get a chance, right? You just got to get your chance to get in there. And I'm sure there's plenty of times when it's not going to go at the rising level that Talon has, but he sure has.
Where did he take his game to at a level on Saturday? What stood out there to you based on the last 6 weeks?
Just Talon, the ability for him to throw the ball downfield and throw it in the end zone, especially the one to Latrell that he threw. That was a complicated coverage that they were in. Now, they didn't execute that coverage very well, but that would have fooled a lot of guys what they were trying to do. And for him to see it and throw it on time, he didn't play a perfect game by any chance, by any means. I mean, he has some balls he'd like to get back. He had some deep balls where we had guys open, and he didn't hit them. But the other thing is just his knowledge of switching protections at the line of scrimmage, and he's got a fair amount on him in the run game. So, he still just continues to grow every week.
Been around the game obviously a while there. Just how many quarterbacks come across that can pull it to 91?
Yeah, there seems like there's more and more of them coming around now. Like it seems to be more, but I've never coached a guy like that could do that. And think of all the great running backs that have come through this place, and for him to get the longest one, I mean, that was impressive for sure.
What was going through your mind when you pulled it? I mean,
Game over. That's what was going through my mind. Game over. As soon as he turned that corner, and it was back to a one-score game. We were backed up. They still had at least one timeout left, so we had to make at least one first down, or they were going to, try to block a punt or get the ball back and have a shot. You never know what's going to happen, but yeah, game over as soon as he turned that corner.
Dirk Koetter seems like another one of those guys that's worked his way up the depth chart, getting more opportunities. I mean, what's the ceiling like for a guy like that?
Yeah, I think very high ceiling. I think you folks have a lot to look forward to with Eric. He size, range, speed, really a smart player, a student of the game. Like, he's one guy that's constantly giving me suggestions during the game. Most of these guys are afraid to talk to me. He's like telling me 17 things when I'm freezing at Wyoming, and he pays attention to what's going on out there.
Green, Ashton, Eric McAllister, all from a small area in Texas, all young. How do you see them interacting on and off the football field? Do they seem like that they're kind of a tight trio that could do a lot of damage around here for the next couple of years?
Yeah, they do. I think the way I would just, when you say how do I see them interacting, all three of those guys are really good teammates. I mean, they're just popular guys. As much as I've moved around over the years, one thing is there's different parts of the country where young men growing up seem to really love football more than others, and Texas is one of those, and the South is another one. But I'd say the one thing is all three of those guys they're all about football, but they also know how to have a good time and really good teammates.
You spent a lot of time coaching Talon to become a better quarterback. A lot of that's mentally. Now he's in the championship game, so the moment is bigger. He also might get into this mentality of having to, out-track Jake Koetter, because this could be a very offensive game. Do you have to get into his mind a little bit more this week?
So far, I'd say that Talon has handled himself really well with just going out there and playing the game. So I would anticipate that's what he'll do. Uh, yeah, I think any of that kind of stuff will probably come from outside sources. Taylor just doesn't seem like that would be in his mindset the way I see him.
It's cliche enough with young quarterbacks, turning the ball over, making, poor decisions. But if you look at the last 5 weeks, there's one quarterback in the country with 10 or more touchdown passes and no turnovers in place for you. How has Taylor been able to, take care of the ball but also be explosive in a number of ways?
Yeah, that's probably been one of my biggest surprises is how Talon has avoided turnovers. Let's face it, he waves that ball around a little bit when he's running, and that's not what we're coaching everybody to do. And he's just shown really good touch throwing the ball in the middle of the field. So, I think in the 8 games, we have 8 turnovers in 8 games. So, normally a pretty realistic goal for an offense is to have 1 or less turnovers a game. So 8 in 8 games we could live with, and obviously our goal every week is 0.
You didn't think he'd be in this position, so you've asked this question before, but you're way past the emotional stage of your life, or maybe, I don't know. This will be your last coaching game, I would assume. You're not going to make this dumb decision ever again. Any kind of emotions and thoughts about just the last 6 weeks, the last 8 weeks, and it'll definitely be over for you on the blue on Saturday.
Yeah, to be honest, I hadn't given that 1 second of thought. Like right now, it's a normal Monday, and you got a ton of film built up there to watch a very good Fresno defense, and that's really all we're thinking about right now. Andy does a great job of how he talks to these guys about it's all in the preparation, and that's just what we're doing right now.
You did say when you came back, one of the reasons was for the seniors and your sons, your players, to have a chance to finish, to now be in the title game. Is there some, I know it's not just you, obviously, but I mean, is there some satisfaction with where the team is now, and this is kind of why you came back, right?
Well, again, I haven't, we haven't. Now's not the time to reflect on that kind of stuff. So, this is just a work day to me. This is just a Monday, and the players are definitely excited. You could tell when they came back. They had Saturday off. When they came back, we had a team meeting and a little light practice yesterday. Players are excited, and they know what it is. And I mean, shoot, it's up there on the wall what they play for, and we have really good leadership on this team, and we have vocal leaders. And there was players that were saying things yesterday. But it's still, like, Andy keeps these guys grounded. It's in the preparation. It's what we do this week. And, Fresno's a very good football team, much improved from when we played them the first time. And, it's going to be a really good Saturday championship football game.
You mentioned how well the job Andy's done, kind of keeping the main thing for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
If Talon goes on and wins this game, being the star quarterback in a place like Boise State brings media and attention and all that stuff. How it seems like he's a guy who is well equipped to handle that. And, what do you think? How is he going to handle that?
I don't know. All this name, image, likeness stuff and all that. I know he's got one deal right now, and I give him a hard time about it. I'm sure he's gonna do better. But again, Talon's a happy kid playing football and getting better every week. And I'm not sure that right now between school and football he has time to think about, and then his family, he doesn't have a whole lot else to think about. But I don't ask him those kind of questions. I mean, I have fun with him in the meetings, coach him hard in practice, and enjoy watching him play on Saturday.
He hasn't gotten you any free pizza yet?
We got to me and him. We're gonna do a little trade off. My NIL is for free chlorine, and his is for pizza. We're gonna do a pizza chlorine swap.
Andy at times this year has mentioned fake confidence and real confidence.
Yeah.
When it comes to a guy like Latrell Peoples, how much real confidence does he have? You just kind of enjoyed listening after the game where on that touchdown, he said that he was like, we knew Utah State was not going to communicate that, and he hit him big.
One of the things I really admire about Latrell is he's kind of a quiet kid, and he was one of the kids that I had a harder time getting to know early when I was watching. But now that I do know him better, he is a really honest kid, and he'll call it like he sees it, and even if it's his fault. I appreciate that about him a lot. And as far as the real confidence, fake confidence, again, that's another thing Andy stresses, and I can't think of one guy off the top of my head that sits in these seats that has fake confidence.
The Clydesdale package, I know, has kind of been before you obviously took over as OC, but you obviously continued to utilize that, and you got Scott another touchdown, I think, on the same play they ran last year. What do you like about that package, and how have you kind of either just stuck with what was working or adapted that at all too?
Yeah, well, everybody has a goal line package, where you call it your 23, 2 backs, 3 tight ends, and you put those D linemen are fighting to get on that team. And before I got here, going even back into last year, they did a really good job with that. And if you look at how those guys block on the perimeter, that's been very successful the last 2 years for Boise State. There's only so many plays you can run out of that personnel group, and we only have a handful out of that. So when they either have to commit to sell out to stop the run, or you're going to run it in on them, that's pretty much what it boils down to. If you can get movement, and that's where those big D linemen on the edges can get a little bit more movement than our normal tight ends can. So, you're always going to have at least one pass built in there. That basic goal line pass that he scored on last year and same score. If you look at the NFL every year, that's the number one goal line pass every year. The nub side tight end running a corner and the fullback in the flat. That's every team has that play.
Obviously, you're focused on Saturday, but you also know Charlie Ragle very well. And the unfortunate news of today, the question is, in this profession, mentally, physically, health-wise, spit you up and chews you out, or however the phrase goes. Your thoughts on Charlie and a really tough decision that he had to make?
Yeah, it's extremely disappointing to me. I talked to Charlie yesterday, as a matter of fact, and it's very disappointing because of the people that you leave behind, the staff, the athletic director and president who hired you, the people that believed in you. It's a tough job, right? That's a tough job. They're all tough jobs, but when you're trying to rebuild them, they're really tough, and it can wear on you in a lot of ways. Been there, so I understand it. So it's disappointing to me that Charlie didn't give it more time than 11 months, but at the same time, I don't walk in his shoes, and every person has the right to live their life. And the way this coaching thing works right now, I'm sure Charlie probably doubled his money, if not more, by going back to another job. So it's just I feel bad for the people that are left behind, because, like I said, I've been on both sides of that.
Dirk, it seems like Talon will look downfield a lot of times before check down, and I want to know if you guys have been striking deep. Is that rare that a quarterback that young would do that? The situation seems like a lot of guys will take the safe route first and just move on to the next play, but he is not turning the ball over either. But you guys are going down the field a lot.
Yeah, well, trust me, it's way better to have a guy doing it that way than the other way. It's hard to break a guy out of captain check down mode and get him to go the other way. Now, there's times when we've been trying to get Talon, hey, you need to check that one down. So that's something he's going to have to improve on checking the ball down. But if those guys are open down the field, keep hitting them. Good key coaching point there. Keep hitting those open guys down the field.
Thanks, Coach.